Hey guys, I'm Lisa for wtfLisa Tarot. This is gonna be a super weird blackout message. I used to do these a lot, but I stopped because I record them in my car. It's usually when I'm at a place or it's a time where I can't like traditionally record. But the air conditioning in my car is out, so it's too fucking hot to do that. But I'm dealing with it. I'll try to keep this short, and then I'm going back in the house. It's not as hot tonight, but it's still hot. So you can probably hear my fan. Anyway, shop my store so I can fix my AC because I'm working as hard as I fucking can. And last time I had enough to fix my AC, I had to replace my tires instead. I had to make a choice, AC or tires, and I'm like, fuck, tires. So anyway, side rant there. There is, I've been under some very weird spiritual attacks, but I know what they are. I'm fighting them off. I'm fine. However, there is a little bit of low-level things happening. For instance, I cannot go on social media without saying some weird shit, and it's because people who are following me, I'm picking up on what's about to happen to them. Also, it's just weird spell work on social media. Like, I just say weird shit. So someone's put some juju on my, when I write. Because I'm not saying the same shit in person or on all apps. So that's weird. So I'm going to have to break that. Other weird thing, too, is a couple days ago, I smashed 2 of my toes. And it sucked ass, man. Well, you all know, you've stubbed your toe. It sucks ass. Well, I got 2. I got my second to my big toe and the middle toe, but the rest are fine. And I kicked the corner of a dresser, but I was barefoot. Oh my God, it was so terrible. So they weren't broken. I knew that, and I knew it would be fine, but the initial injury sucked ass, of course. But it hurt more after when it was swollen because I had like scrapes and I bruised it up. But I knew it was fine. It wasn't broken. And I'm like, all right, 24 hours, it'll be totally fine. So I didn't post at all, if you guys even noticed that shit. Because, I could still pick up energy and vibes, but to speak it was difficult because I was so distracted by my toe. And then, later, the shower head fell and hit me in the back when I was in the shower. I was like, what the fuck? But it didn't hurt at all. Anyway, so I wake up the next day, all the swelling in my toe, gone. It's like my toes are normal, and the bruising is like pretty much, it was about half as bad as it was just the day before. When I went to bed, like 6 hours before, my toes were fat and super purple. I wake up, they're barely purple, they're not swollen, and the scrapes are almost healed. And I was like, holy shit. And then today, I went back to work and walking around, and I was totally fine. And I'm like, this is so weird, because it hurt like hell that one day, and I thought, okay, this is gonna hurt for a solid 4 or 5 days, and then it'll calm the fuck down. And no, 2 days, and it's like fine. It is so weird. So usually when I have weird accidents like that, where it's like weird toes that get injured, but it's low level and I'm fine and I heal fast, it means somebody threw out funky juju and they're about to break their fucking feet or their leg or get a foot chopped off. Like, it's the weirdest shit with me, but when people do shit to me, they get the same thing back in a similar or worse way tenfold. So if I have a weird accident, then someone else who sent out juju will have a worse accident. And I've had confirmation of this so many times from so many different fucking people who told me after they told me what they did, which is the weird juju. Because before I started doing tarot and believed in this, I didn't at all. I didn't believe in any of this shit. I thought it was crap, and I thought I was just nuts when I would like accidentally use my gifts because I didn't know I was using them. That's a whole nother blackout reading. Anyway, one of the examples would be, I had this person totally backstab me, betray me, do some terrible shit. So I tried to still part peacefully and have this person leave me alone. And I meant it until they started calling me repeatedly, threatening me. Their friends started bothering me. He calls me up one night and tells me he hopes I'd die in a car accident. And then So I was upset. Obviously, when you have a bunch of people, they backstab you, but then they're telling you you're wrong and you should die because they're an asshole. Like, no. So anyway, I didn't get in an accident. What happened was I was driving in the snow, and I literally listened to the weather report before I left, and they said, oh, it'll be like another hour or two, before it's undrivable. And I was like, cool, well, I just gotta go to the store. I'll be back in like half hour, 20 minutes. Sure enough, I'm almost to my house. I'm like 2 blocks from my house, going uphill though, and my car cannot get up the hill in the snow. And what happens is my car starts rolling backwards, and I'm like, oh crap. But then it just parallel parked perfectly by itself off to the side, so I just, did the brakes and all that stuff and just walked to my house. Totally safe and fine. Within a few weeks later, the person who called me and wished me to have this they hope I die in this horrible accident, had a horrifying accident they almost died in. They had to have a surgery, a GoFundMe, it was a whole thing. He had told me what he did and others did. A lot of them have called, written me or called me throughout the years and told me what happened to them. Another person wished I got shot. I've never had an incident with a gun. She wrote me one time and was like, why do people keep shooting at me? And she literally came from another country where they don't have guns. Part of the time she lied about where she was. She was in the U.S., so that's why people were shooting at her. We have guns here. But she also hung out with criminals. She's like, why are people shooting at me? And it's like, you hang out with criminals who have guns. And then you try to steal from criminals who have guns. What do you expect? Like, seriously? I don't know. For me, I always get these dumbasses that they're already involved in weird shit. I'm barely acquainted, or they try to get me involved and then I leave, and then their weird shit bites them in the ass and they blame me, and I'm like, you were a drug addict before I was born. That's not my fault. You were involved with crime like a good 5 years before I even knew who you fucking were. That is not my fault. And it's that same vibe too, where some people will try to put curses or spells on you, but they don't have just cause. That's why it goes back tenfold. They have no reason to actually be doing these things. In some cases, they've just done it wrong and they trap themselves. In other cases, they literally fucking can't. You have some sort of your divine nature. In some way, it's a literal fucking spiritual crime. Sometimes they're tricked into doing it because the entity that is telling them to hurt you is trying to drain them. They're the actual target, but they don't get it. It depends on the person, the story. In some cases, you just get people who watch too much TV and they're drinking and they're popping pills and they make up a whole thing, and you just happen to be the person that they saw that they've attached the story to, and it literally has nothing to do with you. This happens to me a lot as well. And I'll get these weird people, they're like, I asked you how the weather was 5 years ago online. How come we aren't married yet? And I'm like, you asked me how the weather was once 5 years ago, and you wonder, you're upset I don't know who you are and we aren't married, or they invent these whole stories. I've had some people upset with me because they were told that I make meth with Jesse Pinkman. And I'm like, what? Jesse Pinkman? Oh no, they said I make meth with Jesse, and I'm like, Jesse who? And they're like, Jesse, and I'm like, Jesse Pinkman? Because he was the only Jesse I knew at the time from Breaking Bad, a fictional character on a fictional show where they make meth. And the person said, yes, that's his name, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's literally Breaking Bad. My car just started rumbling weird. It scared me. And they were like, oh, ha, 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 my mistake. But it's like, you just harassed me and were weird and treated me horribly because you thought I made meth with fictional characters on a fictional TV show. We're not even in New Mexico. How would I possibly do this? Plus, she was a neighbor and she saw no one ever came to my house. And I barely left at that time. So it was like, where are these fictional clients that I would have? Like, what? None of this made sense. But I always get these people like that. And it's worse, a lot of you, same thing. And it's worse with social media because, honestly, the people that hang out on Twitter and Facebook and stuff all fucking day, it's because they can't face reality. I went through that phase myself for a while before I woke up. I couldn't face reality either. And it's still hard sometimes, but it is what it is. However, these people, they make up shit. And when you won't play along because you have no idea what delusion they made up, because you're not the same person, you don't share their head, they attack. It's the weirdest shit. A lot of you know too, Matrix, hive mind stuff, NPCs are glitching out bad. They're getting dumber, more dangerous, and there's a reason for it. They think it's to harm you, but they don't realize they're harming themselves by acting a fool. So a lot of you, again, if you've had these weird things happening to you, like weird accidents, like I mentioned my toe, weird delays, it's for a reason, and you'll see the purpose later. And when you find out, like for me, when I find out who either breaks their foot or has their leg chopped off or something weird with their foot, leg, I'll know who sent out the juju by who has the accident. And I get the feeling it's not going to be great when I find out who the fuck it was. I feel like it's going to be somebody I don't suspect, which is weird, but I can't gauge who it is right now. I really can't. They've done some shit to cloak their energy, so I can't tell. But it's the energy of somebody I least suspect, and it was the biggest mistake they could have ever made. I myself, I don't put curses on people. I do return to senders because protection is just fine. And you should not accept negative energy for no reason. Other than that, I just believe in energy protection and energy clearing, so that way you can make a rational decision, so you don't have garbage mucking it up. That's it. I don't curse people. Most of the time I find they are their own curse. You don't have to curse idiots. They're gonna hurt themselves, you know. You don't have to hold their beer. They'll still do the dumb shit anyway holding their own beer. It doesn't matter. So anyway, I don't know why I'm ranting. I felt the need to, but I'm gonna go inside. It's fucking hot in my car.